Reporting live from the paddock, we have uncovered details of a highly restricted session that has the technical community in a state of high alert. Behind the steel shutters of the garage, Turkish sensation was not merely acclimating to his new V4-powered machine. Our sources indicate that for a period of this private test was permitted to run non-standard tires, specifically a variant from his former supplier. This move is unprecedented in an era where Michelin holds the exclusive contract for the 2026 championship. The implications of this shadow test are vast. It appears is leveraging the upcoming 2027 regulation shift, which will see take over as the sole supplier, to give their star recruit a psychological and technical edge. The atmosphere inside the garage was reportedly tense as engineers from both the Japanese and Italian arms of the project monitored the telemetry in real time. This wasn't just a routine check. It was a high-stakes investigation into how the world's most aggressive breaker can bridge the gap between production-based racing and the uncompromising world of GP prototypes. While official statements remain vague, the data gathered in those quiet hours at Jerez suggests that transition is far from a simple adjustment period. It is a calculated gamble that has left rival manufacturers demanding transparency from the governing bodies. As we peel back the layers of this story, we find a rider who is not just competing against the clock, but against the very physics of modern tire technology. In the high-velocity world of GP, where every millisecond is a battle, has brought a violent, almost impossible approach to deceleration that is forcing engineers to rewrite the manual on chassis dynamics. The phenomenon known as is no longer just a viral social media trend. It has become a genuine technical headache for the development team. Observations from the Jerez tests show that is initiating his braking sequence up to 15 to 20 meters later than veterans like. In a production-based, the tires allowed for this rear-up style, where the bike is balanced almost entirely on the front contact patch. However, the news from the 2026 paddock suggests that the Michelin front slick requires a far more delicate touch. Reports from insiders indicate that during the first several days of testing faced a significant technical hurdle. The Michelin carcass, designed for high-speed corner entry rather than vertical load, began to protest under his extreme pressure. This led to several unstable moments that, while safely managed, highlighted the cultural clash between his instincts and the machine's requirements. To solve this, has reportedly experimented with unconventional fork settings and even revised the handlebar geometry to provide more leverage during these heavy stop-and-go phases. The data suggests that is attempting to force the GP bike to behave like his championship winning, but the prototype tires are highly sensitive. If he can master this balance, he will have a weapon that no one else on the grid can replicate. But the risk is immense. One minor miscalculation in his entry could lead to a severe front-end washout, a setback that his 2026 title aspirations cannot afford. The question remains, can the rider adapt to the tire, or must the bike be completely rebuilt to suit a style that defies conventional wisdom? The arrival of a superstar in a new garage often creates friction, but the tension is being channeled through the blunt, no-nonsense perspective of veteran teammate Jack Miller. Jack Miller, the famously outspoken Australian, has never been one to sugarcoat the realities of the premier class. As dominated the early news cycles with his blistering one-lap pace during the Jerez test, it was Miller who provided the necessary reality check. In various media scrums, Miller has emphasized a critical narrative: the difference between testing fast and racing consistent. According to Paddock Whispers, Miller's data shows a much more refined approach to tire management, something is currently struggling to grasp. Miller has publicly noted that whilst entry speed is staggering, it often leads to a death spin on exit, a situation where the Michelin rear tire begins to lose grip uncontrollably. This isn't just friendly advice, it is a clear indication of the hierarchy within the team. Miller is currently acting as the technical benchmark, the man tasked with ensuring that new V4 project doesn't become a one-rider bike like the of the past. The dynamic between the two is fascinating to watch. While they share a friendly public persona, the internal competition is fierce. Miller knows that if manages to solve his tire degradation issues, his own position as the team's leader will be under direct threat. Our reporters have seen the two in deep discussion after several sessions, with Miller reportedly explaining the ghost spin phenomenon, a technical anomaly where the tire appears to have grip but fails to provide drive out of the corner. For Miller is a vital resource. For Miller is the ultimate challenge. The outcome of this teammate rivalry will likely determine if can truly challenge the dominance that has defined the last several seasons of racing. For over 20 years, its identity was built on the smooth, elegant power of the 4 engine. But the 2026 season marks a radical and controversial departure that some purists are calling a betrayal of the brand's heritage. The news that has officially moved to a V4 engine configuration for the 2026 M1 prototype is the single biggest technical shift in the sport this decade. The decision was driven by a desperate need to find the top-end speed and punch that the 4 simply could no longer provide in the face of aerodynamic and engine braking supremacy. Reporting from the Jakarta launch and the subsequent tests, we have observed a machine that sounds and behaves like nothing has ever produced. This transition, however, has not been without its heavy setbacks. During the test, the team was forced to halt operations for an entire day due to safety concerns regarding the new engine's firing order and its impact on the electronics. The move to a V4 isn't just a change in engine shape, it forces a complete redesign of the chassis and the way the bike interacts with its aerodynamics, for this is both a blessing and a curse. While the V4 provides the raw power he needs to fight on the straights, it also brings a wild character that is much harder to control than the user-friendly he is used to. Our sources within the technical department suggest that the team is struggling with mid-range torque delivery, which is causing the bike to wheelie excessively out of slow corners. This technical dispute between the Japanese engineers, who want a more conservative power curve, and the European racing team, who want all the power now, is the central conflict defining 2026 campaign. If they can harness the V4's potential, they will be the most feared team on the grid. If they fail, it will be a multi-million-dollar disaster that could set the brand back for years. The clock never lies in GP, and for the most alarming data isn't his speed over one lap, but the staggering drop-off in performance that occurs after the tires hit the 10-lap mark. As we analyze the long-run simulations from the preseason tests, a worrying pattern has emerged for the Turkish rider. During a standard 22-lap race simulation, times are often among the top 3 for the first quarter of the distance. However, as the race progresses, the cliff appears. In several paddock whispers, mechanics have noted that aggressive style, which relies heavily on turning with the rear, is causing the Michelin tires to overheat to a dangerous degree. Unlike the tires which are designed to slide and grip, the Michelin slicks in GP tend to slide and spin once they reach a certain temperature threshold. This results in a loss of drive that can see a rider lose half a second per lap in the final stages of a race. This consistency crisis is the main subject of debriefs. He has been heard telling his crew that the tire feels like it's on ice after lap 12. To counter this has been working on a smooth map electronic strategy that limits the initial torque to save the rubber for the end of the race. But this creates another problem. It takes away his ability to overtake aggressively in the opening laps. This is the ultimate catch-22 of his 2026 season. He needs his aggression to win, but that same aggression is what might cause him to lose in the final 5 laps. In the world of premium sports documentaries like GP Unlimited, this is exactly the kind of high-stakes drama that fans crave. For it's a race against his own nature. He must learn to be boring and smooth for 20 laps so he can be explosive for the final 2. If he can't master this, he will remain a Saturday hero who fails on Sunday. While the riders focus on the asphalt, a different kind of battle is being waged in the boardroom, as rival manufacturers suspect that 2026 testing program is a calculated move to gain a disputed advantage for the upcoming regulation changes. The news of test in Jerez didn't just stay within the garage. It sparked a heated argument among the MSMA, Motorcycle Sports Manufacturers Association. With the 2027 regulations looming, which include a switch to 850 engines and the arrival of as the sole tire supplier, rival teams like KTM and are watching with extreme paranoia. Some insiders claim that is using as a development mule to gather data for the 2027 season under the guise of 2026 testing. This technical dispute has reached the ears of race direction. While denies any rule violations, claiming the test was purely to help adapt, the timing is certainly suspicious. The 2027 season will be a hard reset for the sport, and any information on how a GP chassis reacts to rubber is worth millions of dollars. Our reporting suggests that other manufacturers are now asking for reciprocal rights, demanding that they also be allowed to test tires during private sessions. This political turmoil adds a layer of behind-the-scenes drama that the public rarely sees, has become an accidental pawn in a much larger game of corporate chess. He is the only rider on the grid who has spent the last 5 years winning on, making his feedback the most valuable in the world right now. As we move closer to the 2027 transition, expect the paddock whispers to get louder. The tension isn't just about who wins the 2026 title, it's about who will own the throne when the 850 era begins, is playing the long game, and is their most powerful piece on the board. Beyond the engine maps and the tire compounds lies the human story of a rider who has been the undisputed king of his world for years, only to find himself labeled as a rookie in a cold, analytical environment. Is more than just a rider, he is a national hero in Turkey and a global icon in the motorsports world. But the transition to GP has brought a severe setback in terms of his mental comfort zone. In was the anomaly that everyone feared. In GP, he is a project that needs to be refined. This shift in status has clearly taken a hard hit on his psyche during the difficult days in. Our cameras caught moments of deep reflection in the back of the garage, where the normally playful rider looked burdened by the staggering expectations placed on his shoulders. The media criticism has also been a factor. Some European outlets have questioned if he can truly adapt or if he is too old at 29 to change his deep-seated habits. This psychological pressure is a theme we see often in high-level documentaries, is fighting the narrative of failure. He knows that if he doesn't produce results within the first 6 races, the paddock will move on to the next young star. To cope, he has reportedly brought a small, tight-knit circle from Turkey to keep him grounded, but the isolation of the GP lifestyle is very different from the family feel of the paddock. He is also dealing with the technical isolation of the project. Unlike, which has 8 bikes on the grid to share data, only has 4, and only 2 of them are the latest V4 spec. This means the weight of development is largely on him and Miller. The mental resilience required to keep pushing when you are 1.5 seconds off the pace in testing is enormous. This is true trial by fire. As the circus moves from the high-speed curves of Europe to the stifling heat of the international circuit in Thailand, stands at a definitive crossroads that will determine the rest of his career. The final preseason test and the opening round in Thailand represent the ultimate climax of this preseason journey. Is a stop-and-go track, which should theoretically suit aggressive late-braking style. However, the extreme temperatures will put the Michelin consistency issue under a microscope like never before. If can find a way to manage his tires in the 100-degree heat of Thailand, he will silence every critic in the paddock. Reporting from the scene, we can tell you that the anticipation is explosive. Fans across Asia are desperate to see if the king of SBK can truly dethrone the established GP elite. The twist in this story is that has reportedly brought a secret aero package to the test, designed specifically to help with the front-end stability has been asking for. This could be the technical miracle he needs. But if the bike remains difficult to handle over a full race distance, the aftermath will be a season spent in the middle of the pack, a place has never been in his life. He is a winner by nature, and a year of struggling for 10th place could break his spirit. As we close this report, the paddock whispers are divided. Some believe he is the next Mark, a rider who will redefine the sport. Others believe he is a specialist who arrived at the party too late. The lights are about to go out, the V4 engines are roaring, and the truth is about to be revealed on the asphalt. The Turkish gamble is officially, and the entire world of motorsports is holding its breath.